In the wild, the greatest confrontations rarely begin with a sudden strike. They emerge from stillness. Across the planet's harshest landscapes, every heartbeat carries a warning, and every glance reflects careful calculation weighing strength, distance, and the fragile chances of survival. Nothing unfolds by accident here. Each movement is shaped by countless generations of evolution. Within these unforgiving environments, predators and prey study one another with intense focus. A single misstep can determine fate. The air grows heavy with tension as bodies ready themselves to flee, to hunt, or to endure. Life and death are often separated by mere seconds, and only those that interpret their surroundings with precision can continue their journey. These encounters are not random acts of aggression. They are powerful displays of instinct, strategy, and adaptation. Every chase, every ambush, and every act of resistance plays a role in sustaining the balance of entire ecosystems, reminding us that struggle is an essential thread in the fabric of the natural world. As the sun slips behind the rim of the crater, deep roars echo across the steep cliffs. These calls are more than territorial warnings. They are declarations of dominance. The lion, the apex predator of the Ngorongoro crater, proclaims its authority. Research suggests that this region is home to roughly 65 to 75 lions organized into about 8 prides with a density of nearly 20 to 25 individuals across 63 square kilometers. The males of Ngorongoro are especially striking, known for their impressive dark manes. The color and size of a mane are influenced by genetics, hormones, and climate. Males with darker, almost black manes often have higher testosterone levels, greater reproductive success, and longer lifespans. In this crater, more than 60% of adult males display these darker manes. During contests for dominance, such a mane serves not only as an intimidating signal but also as an attractive trait to females. Yet this strength has deep origins. The dark-maned lions of Ngorongoro descend from a population shaped by extreme survival. In the past, disease dramatically reduced their numbers, leaving only a small group behind. From those few survivors, the entire population was rebuilt. It is a story of resilience. Though not without consequences. This close lineage means many individuals share remarkably similar genetic traits, forming a dynasty forged in isolation. Within the crater, limited space and abundant prey force prides to live in close proximity, increasing the likelihood of territorial conflict. From opposite sides, two adult males approach. There is no retreat. Their roars shake the landscape, signaling an unavoidable clash. They collide with immense Akut bodies weighing close to 180 kilograms. Claws tear into the earth and sharp teeth flash as each aims for the other's neck. This confrontation determines far more than control of land. At stake is the right to pass on their lineage and assert lasting dominance. In the ecosystem of Ngorongoro, the victor claims the territory and access to females while the defeated is driven away, losing his place within the social order. In Ngorongoro, the rhythm of the hunt reflects constant flexibility and adaptation, while males devote much of their time to patrolling and defending territory. It is the lionesses who lead the hunt with precision and coordination. Across most of Africa, lions succeed in only 18 to 30% of their attempts. Here, however, success rates can rise to 35 or even 40%, driven by the abundance of herbivores and cooperative techniques refined over generations. As the last light of evening fades and heat lingers in the tall grass, tension builds. A pride has just taken down a zebra. a moment, the victory seems secure, but at the edges of the scene, shadowy figures begin to emerge, spotted hyenas. Not one, but many. Then suddenly a sharp, eerie laugh cuts through the silence, a direct and unmistakable challenge. Encounters between these two dominant predators of the Ngorongoro crater are far from rare. Their rivalry stretches back through generations. The crater itself acts like a natural enclosure, an ecological pressure chamber. With limited space and no easy escape routes, confrontations between lions and hyenas occur more frequently, and with greater intensity than in most other ecosystems. The hyenas here are anything but mere scavengers. They are highly effective hunters, often bold enough to confront lions and steal their kills. In this enclosed world, the traditional rules of the savanna seem to shift constantly. With an estimated population ranging from 380 to over 470 individuals, the spotted hyena stands as the most numerous large carnivore in the crater. Recent observations reveal at least 8 distinct clans, some numbering up to 80 members, all thriving within territories of no more than 40 square kilometers. Their competition with lions extends far beyond a single carcass. At such high densities, conflict can erupt almost daily. While a lion may hold the advantage in sheer strength, hyenas rely on numbers and coordinated tactics to level the balance. This ongoing cycle of confrontation has shaped a unique ecological dynamic, one where nothing is certain and strength alone does not always decide the outcome. Hyenas do not exist as isolated individuals. Each clan functions as a highly structured matriarchal society, where a dominant female leads and rank is passed from mother to daughter. When males reach maturity, they cannot remain within their birth clan. Instead, they must leave and seek acceptance in another group to reproduce. This system helps prevent inbreeding within the crater's confined environment. In this closed world, a young male's departure is not an act of desperation, but a calculated step towards survival. An unseen network seems to guide him, familiar scents carried on the wind, subtle echoes of kinship among distant clans. It is an ancient form of social awareness that ensures opportunity even far from where he was born. Often males move toward clans where a sibling or a member of their generation has already settled, increasing their chances of acceptance and reproductive success. Their survival also depends on an extraordinary communication system. Laughter-like calls, low growls, sharp yelps, and powerful vocal signals can travel across great distances. Within the enclosed world of Ngorongoro, these sounds are more than noise. They are the voice of a resilient, ever-changing ecosystem deeply woven together by connection and competition. One of Africa's most formidable forces moves across the savanna, the African buffalo. Unlike its domesticated relatives, this species possesses a massive muscular body that can exceed 900 kilograms. Its wide, curved horns merge at the base into a solid structure known as a boss, forming a natural shield that provides remarkable protection against predators. This feature gives the buffalo a defensive advantage few large mammals can match. They live in large herds that can number in the hundreds. Within the group, cohesion and discipline are essential for survival. Whether crossing dry plains or moving through rivers, they maintain tight formations. Calves and weaker individuals stay protected in the center, while the strongest males position themselves along the perimeter, ready to confront any threat. This living fortress proves highly effective, allowing the herd to withstand attacks from even the most powerful predators of the savanna. Their senses of smell and hearing are highly developed, compensating for relatively poor eyesight. At the slightest unfamiliar sound carried by the wind, the herd halts and raises its heads in unison, alert and watchful. When lions or hyenas are detected, the buffalo quickly group together, forming a defensive line. Dominant males move forward, charging with force and swinging their horns to push predators back. In many cases, the entire herd counterattacks, turning what began as a hunt into a dangerous situation for the hunters themselves. There are numerous accounts of lions being seriously injured or even killed after being struck by a buffalo's horns. Yet despite their strength, river crossings remain one of the most dangerous moments for the species. In deeper waters, Nile crocodiles lie in wait, ready to strike when an individual becomes separated. Calves and weakened adults are especially vulnerable. When a buffalo is dragged beneath the water, the herd often pauses and several males may rush in to attempt a rescue. This bold response can sometimes force the predator to release its grip. During the dry season, buffalo must travel long distances in search of water. Fatigue weakens the herd, creating more opportunities for lions to attack. In these critical moments, cooperation becomes vital. If the herd fragments, isolated individuals rarely survive. But when they remain united, they become a powerful force capable of driving off even large groups of lions. The African buffalo is also known for its unpredictable temperament. It may appear calm while grazing, yet even a small disturbance can trigger a sudden and forceful charge. This behavior has made the buffalo one of the animals responsible for the highest number of human fatalities in Africa, surpassing even some major predators. With its immense strength, speed, and deadly horns, it commands deep respect. Its ecological role is equally significant. As herds move across the land, their hooves break up old vegetation, encouraging new growth. They also disperse seeds through their dung, contributing to the regeneration of plant life across the savanna. At the same time, they serve as a vital food source for large predators holding a key position within the food chain. On the plains of Botswana, a herd forming a defensive circle stands as a powerful example of collective strength. In an environment where every species struggles to endure, unity becomes the foundation of survival. For lions or crocodiles, bringing down even a single buffalo is never easy. For the herd, staying together is the strongest shield against any threat. Just to the north, the plains of the Serengeti stretch out like an endless ocean of grass. This is far more than a simple natural setting. It is one of the most extraordinary wildlife spectacles still found on Earth. Each year, between 1.5 and 2 million wildebeest, joined by over 200,000 zebras, around 500,000 gazelles, and tens of thousands of elands set out on a journey exceeding 800 kilometers across the Serengeti Mara ecosystem. If the Great Migration is nature's grand symphony, then the Serengeti is its orchestra, the stage where life's rhythms are born, repeated, and transformed in an endless cycle spanning more than 14,700 square kilometers in northern Tanzania. Here, life does more than survive. It flourishes with an intensity rarely matched anywhere else. The name Serengeti derived from the Maasai language, meaning endless plains, reflects not only the vastness of the land, but also the constant motion and renewal of life. As the rains fade and clouds lift from the southern highlands, the Ndutu region near the Ngorongoro Conservation Area becomes the starting point of this immense journey. The soil in this area is rich with layers of ancient volcanic ash built up over thousands of years. This creates grasslands packed with minerals such as potassium, calcium, and silica. allowing vegetation to grow rapidly and reach nutritional levels up to 25% higher than those found in the more neutral soils of the north. For this reason, between January and March, vast herds of wildebeest, zebras, and gazelles gather in this region. Grant's zebras lead the migration, guided as if by an inherited memory etched deep within their instincts. Their path is not random, it follows a biological map passed down through generations. Within the Serengeti Mara system, nearly 200,000 Grant's zebras take part in this annual movement. Compared to the more slender build of the wildebeest, these zebras have a sturdy frame weighing between 220 and 300 kilograms. Though they are the smallest zebra subspecies, they are remarkably resilient, capable of sustaining the long and demanding pace of migration. Their black and white stripes serve more than a visual purpose. They help regulate body temperature, enabling them to endure the dry heat of the tropical plains. Acting as the pioneers of the journey, they feed first on the taller, tougher grasses that many other herbivores avoid. By clearing this rough upper layer, they reveal fresh, nutrient-rich shoots beneath exactly the type of vegetation preferred by wildebeest. This creates one of the most remarkable symbiotic relationships of the migration, a silent partnership that keeps one of Earth's greatest natural cycles in motion. While the zebras guide the route, the blue wildebeest takes center stage in one of the planet's most impressive birth events. Each year, within just a few weeks between February and March, around 500,000 calves are born. Nearly 8,000 new lives every single day. This synchronized birthing is no coincidence, but a highly effective survival strategy, overwhelming predators such as lions, hyenas, and cheetahs, which can only capture a small fraction of this surge of life. Once the calving season ends and the tender grasses are depleted, the land begins to dry and crack under the first intense sun of the dry season. This marks the beginning of the true migration. No other mammal dominates this movement in sheer numbers. Each year, between 1.5 and 1.7 million wildebeest move as one. An adult typically weighs between 180 and 250 kilograms, built for endurance rather than speed. By mid-year, the journey grows more perilous. Rivers become the greatest obstacles along the route. At the Grumeti River, calves born just months earlier begin to feel the strain of the long trek, and the water's edge becomes both a necessity and a danger. Beneath the surface, hundreds of Nile crocodiles remain motionless, waiting. Some wildebeest are seized and dragged under by these hidden predators. Others freeze, watching as unseen giants rise from the water to claim members of their herd. It is a stark reminder that within the Great Migration, every step carries the weight of survival or sacrifice. By July, the herds push northward. The land rises, the air grows drier, and the sky seems to open endlessly above them. The northern Serengeti reveals a different kind of beauty, marked by scattered kopias, granite outcrops rising like islands from a sea of golden grass. These natural formations serve as perfect vantage points for lion prides watching the vast herds from a distance. But in August, everything changes. The Mara River stands in their path, redefining the course of the migration. It divides the landscape and creates one of the most dramatic crossings in the natural world. Unlike the Grumeti, the Mara is deeper, its currents faster, and its waters filled with an even greater concentration of crocodiles. Here, one of the most raw and awe-inspiring spectacles in nature unfolds. Thousands of wildebeest gather at the river's edge, calling out and pressing forward, driven by instinct before plunging into the churning water. What awaits them is a deadly corridor filled with hidden predators. Yet within this chaos, a striking paradox emerges. The mass loss of wildebeest during these crossings is not simply an end. It becomes the beginning of another cycle. Vast amounts of organic matter settle along the riverbed, creating a powerful surge of nutrients that can last for months. Released elements like nitrogen and phosphorus nourish entire communities of fish, insects, and algae, transforming loss into a vital force that sustains the ecosystem. The Nile crocodiles inhabiting these waters are among the most formidable predators in the region. Adult individuals typically measure between 3.5 and 5 meters, while dominant specimens can reach up to 6 meters and weigh more than 680 kilograms. Beneath their thick skin lies a layer of bony plates known as osteoderms, natural armor that turns them into living tanks beneath the surface. Their eyes, nostrils, and ears are positioned on top of the head, allowing them to remain almost entirely submerged while observing everything above the waterline. Their bite is one of the most powerful in the animal kingdom, capable of crushing the bones of large herbivores such as wildebeest and zebra. Rather than chewing, they seize their prey with immense force, drag it into the water, and perform a violent rotational movement to break it apart. At key crossing points like the Mara River, the arrival of migrating herds signals a season of abundance for these predators. When tens of thousands of animals enter the river in a single day, crocodiles no longer need to hunt actively. The current delivers prey directly to them. And paradoxically, the greater the number of animals crossing at once, the higher the chances of survival for each individual. The wildebeest seem to sense this instinctively. If they succeed in crossing the Mara River, they will reach the Masai Mara National Reserve, a vast expanse of green pastures often seen as the destination that sustains the continuation of their journey. Across Africa's vast open plains, small groups of antelope move carefully through the tall grass. They are among the most abundant herbivores of the savanna and serve as a vital food source for many predators. With slender bodies weighing between 40 and 80 kilograms, antelope are built for speed and agility. They can reach speeds close to 80 kilometers per hour and, more importantly, shift direction in an instant to evade danger. In this environment, their most formidable opponent is the cheetah. Unlike lions that rely on teamwork or crocodiles that depend on ambush, the cheetah relies almost entirely on raw speed. Once it identifies a target, often a young or isolated individual, it begins a low, silent approach, closing the distance with careful precision. Its lightweight frame, highly flexible spine, and powerful hind legs allow it to accelerate to over 95 kilometers per hour in just seconds. The long tail acts like a rudder, stabilizing the body during sharp, high-speed turns. When the gap narrows to less than 45 meters, the cheetah unleashes a sudden burst of speed, launching into a full sprint. The chase rarely lasts more than 30 seconds, but within that brief window, everything is decided. The antelope reacts instantly, darting in zigzags and changing direction repeatedly to disrupt the attack. Often this strategy works. A sudden turn can throw the cheetah off balance, making it impossible to recover in time. But when the strike is precise, the predator's claws grip tightly and its jaws close around the prey's throat. Death comes quickly and without sound. The cheetah must conserve energy and avoid drawing attention. Unlike lions, it does not share its meal. It must eat alone and fast, as hyenas, vultures, or even larger predators may attempt to steal the kill at any moment. To reduce this risk, it drags the carcass into cover and feeds as rapidly as possible, gaining the energy needed to survive, and in the case of females, to nourish their cubs. For the herd, the loss of one individual is part of the natural balance. For the cheetah, that single moment means survival. The encounter between antelope and cheetah is a precise expression of evolution itself. Speed against speed, reflex against reflex. Each pursuit is a test of extreme adaptation where only the fastest and most resilient endure, passing their traits on to the next generation. As the midday sun beats down on the Mara River, the surface begins to stir. From the murky water, massive gray shapes emerge, bulging eyes, small ears, and enormous heads breaking through the reflective surface. They are hippopotamuses, the largest semi-aquatic mammals in Africa, and among the most aggressive animals on the continent. An adult can exceed 4 tons in weight and stretch beyond 4 meters in length. Their skin, nearly 5 centimeters thick, acts as natural armor. Combined with curved tusks that can reach half a meter, these features make the hippo a force capable of overpowering almost any rival. For most of the day, they remain submerged to avoid overheating, exposing only their eyes, ears, and nostrils, just enough to observe their surroundings while staying protected. At night, they leave the water in small groups and move on to the open plains to feed. A single individual can consume more than 70 kilograms of grass in one night. Despite their strictly herbivorous diet, their territorial behavior is intensely aggressive. Any creature that enters their aquatic domain is treated as a threat, whether it is a crocodile, a lion, or even a human. This aggression becomes immediate during confrontations. If a Nile crocodile approaches an area where calves are present, an adult female will attack without hesitation. She opens her jaws to an almost full angle, revealing massive tusks while releasing a deep, resonant roar that echoes across the river. A single bite can crush a crocodile's skull. In many cases, the reptile retreats, surrendering control of the shoreline to the true dominant force. Males are equally intolerant of intrusion. They mark territory by spinning their tails as they defecate, spreading scent as a warning. When another male ignores this signal, conflict becomes inevitable. Two enormous bodies collide violently, striking with heads and tusks. Deep wounds can stain the water red. These battles are not random. They determine hierarchy and control over the most valuable sections of the river. Within the Mara ecosystem, the hippo plays a crucial ecological role. Their constant movement between water and land creates natural channels, while their waste enriches the river with nutrients that sustain fish and microorganisms, supporting the entire aquatic food chain. Their presence is both a danger to intruders and a stabilizing force within the river system. Hippos also maintain a structured social system. They live in large groups, sometimes numbering in the dozens, led by a dominant male. He defends the territory while females and calves form the core of the group. When danger appears, they cluster together, turning the river into a domain few predators dare to challenge. Even so, calves remain the most vulnerable. Many fall prey to crocodiles when they stray too far from their mothers, while others may die during clashes between adult males. Those that survive grow rapidly, reaching over a ton in just a few years. Once fully mature, very few animals in the ecosystem can challenge a healthy hippo. For other species, their presence is a clear warning. Buffalo herds often choose to drink in areas where hippos are absent, while zebras and migrating wildebeest tend to cross the river at points where they are less concentrated. For human communities living near rivers like the Nile and the Mara, the danger is real. A single charge can be fatal. For these reasons, the hippopotamus has long been considered more deadly than many land predators. All these traits establish it as the true ruler of the river. Even the formidable Nile crocodile often yields to its dominance. In the waters of the Mara, if the crocodile is the silent executioner, the hippo stands as the visible warrior asserting absolute authority over its domain. And so these stories of the animal kingdom's most intense encounters come to an end. They are not tales of glory or absolute victory, but real moments where every heartbeat carries a warning in a world that offers no pause. In the wild, every glance is a decision, a silent calculation between pressing forward or giving in, between attack and escape. Here, conflict does not arise from cruelty, but from necessity. Each encounter reflects a delicate balance that has allowed life to endure for millions of years. Some survive, others fall, yet both are part of the same cycle that keeps ecosystems alive and in motion. These moments remind us that nature does not exist for spectacle but for continuity. To understand it is the first step toward respecting and protecting it. Because when an ecosystem breaks, it is not only species that disappear, entire stories are lost, never to be told again. If this journey through the wild has made you feel, reflect, or see nature from a new perspective, consider liking the video and subscribing to Beast Call Nature. Your support helps us continue sharing real stories from the natural world, told with honesty, respect, and a deep sense of wonder. At the heart of southern Africa lies Kaza, the largest transfrontier conservation area on Earth. 5 nations bound together by rivers, savannas, and ancient forests share a single vast stage where life is tested against its most unforgiving conditions. Here, the boundaries drawn by humans mean nothing to hunger, to danger, or to death. Across this immense wilderness, every day demands something. Herds move in search of water across ground that offers no guarantees. Predators read the landscape with a patience that can last for hours, calculating distances and angles before committing to a single decisive movement. The most vulnerable learn quickly or do not get the chance to learn at all. Dust rises without warning. Silence breaks without announcement. The struggle to survive begins again, as it always does, before anyone is ready. Kaza is not simply a sanctuary. It is a proving ground, a place where strength, speed, and the accumulated intelligence of generations determine who continues and who does not. Across these lands, shared by 5 nations, nature enforces its own laws. They are older than any border drawn on a map, and they are absolute. Deep within the Kavango-Zambezi Basin, where the territories of 5 nations converge, the bush has become an arena of unrelenting struggle. An unusually prolonged dry season has settled over the landscape like a weight dust, hanging thick and still above the low scrub, the air carrying the dry heat of a land pushed beyond its usual limits. A black rhinoceros moves in saunts along trails worn into the earth by generations of buffalo before it. Both species are following the same imperative, the same ancient necessity: water. Not far across the scorched plain, a pack of African wild dogs crosses ground that only a few years ago formed part of a green and functioning migration corridor. Today it is barely recognizable. Each stride costs more than it should. Bodies that evolved over millions of years to cover vast distances with fluid efficiency are moving with a heaviness that speaks to exhaustion and depleted reserves. The ecosystem is under a pressure it has rarely experienced in any form quite like this, because the force applying that pressure is not drought alone or competition or the ordinary hardship of a difficult season. It is a crisis of a different kind entirely, one authored by human activity and accelerating beyond the pace at which wild systems can adapt. And yet Kaza endures. It remains one of the last places on Earth where the full breadth of African wildlife can still move, still breathe, still recover. That persistence is not simply a conservation achievement. It is a reminder, profound and difficult to ignore, of what has been placed in our care and what it will cost if we fail to honor it. A new day opens as golden light filters through the tree line and spills across the African plain, drawing life out from the shadows. A lion pride emerges from the darkness at the forest's edge, moving with a quiet and focused purpose. The morning hunt has already begun. In the distance, zebras and wildebeest move together across the grass, following the pull of greener pasture, unaware of how close they are moving to danger. The lion watches, completely still, completely patient, the kind of patience that is indistinguishable from the landscape itself. It waits for the moment that always comes. A weaker animal dropping back, creating a gap between itself and the safety of the herd. A zebra peels away toward a drying marsh, lowers its head, and drinks from what remains of the water-shallow, sun-warmed pools that will not last much longer. It does not sense what is waiting in the grass nearby. Exposed and absorbed in drinking, it has no warning before the lion launches an explosion of muscle and momentum that sends earth and dry grass into the air. The chase tears across the savanna like a crack of thunder, a desperate, committed sprint in which every second is everything. The zebra runs with the full force of fear behind each stride, hooves hammering the ground, kicking backward in an attempt to slow the predator pressing relentlessly behind it. Then the lion makes its final move, leaping, landing hard across the zebra's back. Claws find their grip. The weight drives the animal down. The zebra fights, kicks, resists with everything it has left. But the hold does not give. Strength and instinct in the end override panic. When it is over, the cubs approach, curious, calling softly, watching the adults and mimicking what they see, beginning to learn the lessons that will define the rest of their lives. On these plains, survival is purchased breath by breath. In the wild, only those who live with absolute commitment leave any trace at all, written in dust and in the silence that follows. Beneath the relentless African sun, a silhouette moves with unhurried confidence across the open ground. The distinctive sloping back and measured gait of the spotted hyena, an animal that has provoked unease in human observers for as long as the two species have shared this continent. Feared, misread, and persistently underestimated, the hyena occupies a place in the popular imagination that bears little resemblance to what it actually is: a bold and capable hunter, and one of the most intelligent, strategic thinkers in the African ecosystem. It is found across much of the continent, from the edge of true desert to the margins of forest, thriving precisely in the places that test every species most severely. where only the most adaptable and resilient manage to hold their ground. Among the predators of the savanna, the spotted hyena does not merely compete. In many landscapes, it sets the terms. Its hunts are not opportunistic scrambles. They are coordinated, distributed efforts in which each individual plays a specific role, some drawing attention, others moving to cut off escape. The combination of endurance and strategy is formidable. A hyena can sustain a pursuit over several kilometers without flagging, driven by a physical stamina that outlasts many of the animals it targets. The sound that defines it in the human mind, that rising, unsettling call, is not laughter in any human sense. It is communication, precise, layered, and rich with information about position, status, emotional state, and the dynamics of the moment. Within the clan, bonds run deep. Hyenas recognize one another across time, respond to loss, and maintain social connections that go well beyond the transactional. They do not simply coexist, they belong to one another. And yet the reputation persists. Thief, coward, creature of the margins. To watch a hyena clan with genuine attention rather than inherited prejudice is to encounter something quite different. An animal whose role in the ecosystem is not incidental but foundational. As scavengers, they process what others cannot, returning nutrients to the soil and limiting the spread of disease. Without them, carcasses accumulate, pathogens persist, and the balance that sustains everything else begins to slip. Their work is not glamorous, but it is essential, and it is done with a thoroughness that nothing else in this landscape can match. Every kill, every carcass consumed, every bone reduced to powder leaves its mark on the health of the savanna. The hyena is a reminder that survival does not always arrive in a form we find easy to admire, but that does not make it any less necessary. At dawn in Keza, golden light moves across dew-covered grassland, beneath a sky that is wide and clear and still. The air carries the coolness of the night just past. The earth holds its quiet for one more moment, and then carefully, watchfully, the wild begins to wake. In the tall grass, something stirs. A clan of hyenas stretches and shakes off the stillness of a long night's rest, eyes adjusting, ears already turning toward the sounds of the waking landscape. They rise without urgency, reading the air around them before committing to movement. These are not animals that rush into anything. They are patient, coordinated, and possessed of a social intelligence that shapes every decision the group makes. One by one, they begin to move noses low, picking up the invisible information that drifts just above the ground. Their ears tighten. Every sound is data, a shift in wind, a distant footfall, the rhythm of breathing that does not belong to the clan. Not far across the grass, a group of taupe antelope graze in the warmth of the early morning, their coats catching the light, heads down and unhurried. They have not yet read what the wind is carrying toward them. The hyenas slow drop lower and fix their attention on the herd, assessing positioning, making the calculations that precede a coordinated hunt. They spread out a quiet, deliberate opening of the formation, each animal taking its place without signal or instruction, moving through the tall grass like shadows with intent. They close the distance with a patience that seems almost geological. The taupe continue to graze, still unaware. Then, without warning, one hyena breaks, accelerating hard through the grass, the stillness of the morning shattered in an instant. The targeted taupe, resting in shade at the edge of the group, is on its feet before the thought has fully formed. Its legs find their rhythm, immediately cutting across the grass, swerving through obstacles, driven by the absolute urgency of escape. But this animal is faster today than the pursuit can match. With a combination of agility and pace, it opens the gap and pulls clear. The hyenas pull up, breathing hard, eyes still sharp despite the outcome. There are no recriminations, no visible frustration. The clan recalibrates. The hunt is not over. It has simply not yet found its moment. For now, they turn toward a nearby marsh, drawn by the promise of cool water. They wade in slowly, bodies sinking into the shallow mud, the tension of the morning releasing into the stillness of the pool. They jostle, gently roll, bite, softly at one another, a brief interlude of ease before the day resumes. The heat begins to build, and for a short while the wild lands of Kaza settle back into something resembling quiet. On the broad golden plain beneath the shade of a large rock, the clan rests through the middle hours, the dry grass moving in a light breeze, the sun pressing warmth into their coats. It is a moment of temporary stillness that the savannah allows only sparingly. Then a pair of eyes sweeps the horizon and finds movement. Lions feeding on a recent kill. The shift in the clan is immediate. Curiosity sharpens into focus, and focus sharpens into hunger. The scent of fresh meat reaches them on the air and moves through the group like a current. One by one they rise and begin to move toward it with a quiet, unhurried determination that is in its own way more purposeful than any sprint. Lean silhouettes drifting across the golden plain, deliberate, soundless converging. The lions, heavy with feeding, have grown careless in their rest, unaware of what is drawing closer across the grass. Hunger is a remarkable clarifier. The hyenas read every detail of the scene ahead. The positions of the lions, the angles of approach, the margins available, drawing on a depth of collective experience that has been refined across countless generations of exactly this kind of moment. At the front, a bold female sets the pace, her steps placing themselves on the ground with a precision that makes almost no sound at all. The clan encircles the lions, no roaring yet, only held postures, locked eyes, and the ancient pressure of two predators reading each other across a distance that is shrinking. Above, vultures have already begun to circle, patient and unhurried as they always are. They know their turn will come when everything else has resolved itself. The lions give ground, retreating into the shade of the tree line, not broken but displaced. This loss, like so many others played out on these plains, will leave no monument, but it will leave a mark absorbed into the memory of the landscape itself. In Kaza, what determines the outcome of a confrontation is rarely size or strength alone. It is timing, nerve, and the willingness to commit fully at the moment that matters. The hyenas feed without pause or ceremony, tendons bone every fragment of what they have claimed, consumed with the thoroughness that defines them. Then the quiet returns, wind across dry grass, the distant echo of a struggle already finished. The carcass is gone, the dust settles, and the plain looks as it always has. This is how the law of this place operates, without sentiment, without appeal. Governed entirely by hunger and the will to press forward when others cannot. In a distant corner of Kaza, the silence is broken only by the dry creak of grass in a light wind. Beneath a thorny acacia, a coalition of cheetahs feeds on a freshly caught antelope. The reward for a hunt that required speed coordination and the precise reading of a moving target. The air around them carries the sharp scent of fresh meat. It is a moment of earned stillness, brief and complete. But in the shadows of the surrounding scrub, yellow eyes are already watching. A hyena breaks first, impulsive, driven by hunger that has overridden patience. The others follow, and the calm of the moment splits open. The numerical advantage is immediate and overwhelming. Hyenas press in from every angle, pulling, tearing, claiming large portions of the carcass before the cheetahs can mount any coherent defense. A young cheetah is knocked back, blood showing at its shoulder, and retreats as quickly as it can toward the safety of a nearby tree. Another attempts to hold on to what little remains, but two hyenas, growling in unison, push it aside without difficulty. The dominant male hauls himself onto a branch, sides heaving, and looks down from above as the kill that cost him so much effort disappears beneath a press of bodies. The air thickens heavy with blood, fur, and the raw energy of animals feeding with complete focus. This is not a conflict driven by dominance or territory. It is simpler and more fundamental than that. It is survival expressed without restraint. The hyenas consume everything, muscle, cartilage, organ, returning it all to the earth with an efficiency that leaves almost nothing behind. Only crushed bone remains. Above, the vultures continue their patient circles, riding the thermals, waiting for the moment when the ground below is theirs. In Kaza, nothing belongs to anyone permanently. No victory is secure, no matter what it costs to win. When dawn breaks again over the region, the dry air hums in near silence. The yellowed grass crackling under the weight of a rising sun. Life endures here, quietly pressing against the dry season that strips the land of everything soft. Beneath a thorn acacia, the hyena clan rests with distended bellies, the dried scent of last night's meal still clinging to their coats. For now, the weight of satiation holds them down. But survival runs on a cycle that does not allow for extended rest. Hunger will return, it always does, and instinct in this world does not truly sleep. One by one, the hyenas rise, moving out again with a purpose that the previous night's success has done nothing to diminish. Noses working, ears up, eyes reading the landscape for any detail that does not belong. Today they are not looking for small prey. Their attention fixes on a scattered group of topy antelope, some grazing, some resting. None of them alert to what is approaching. A hyena launches first, driving directly toward a topy's throat with lethal precision. Claws cut the air, jaws snap, but the topy explodes into movement, driven by pure panic, kicking hard. The bite finds the thigh, tears skin, but fails to bring the animal down. The herd reacts instantly. Hooves, thunder, dust rises, and the injured topy is swallowed into the moving mass of the group. The herd moves on, but the injured animal falls behind alone now. It's breathing ragged, unaware that the worst is still to come. Then the final assault breaks from the grass, a surge of muscle and momentum that closes the distance in seconds. The clan arrives like a wave. Eyes fixed, teeth exposed, the scent of warm blood driving them forward with an intensity that removes every other consideration. The topy goes down in a press of bodies. Bones give. The sounds of the struggle fade quickly into the sounds of feeding. The ground darkens. A hyena takes the spine. Another opens the abdomen. It is violent, and it is coordinated, and it is over very quickly. The feeding continues in a silence broken only by the steady percussion of bones being processed. The topi's eyes remain open, catching the light of the climbing sun. The hyenas work with singular focus, no conflict between them. No wasted movement, only the shared urgency of consumption before anything else can arrive to contest it. When it is finished, the clan slows. Bellies full, eyes half closed, they begin to disperse, moving back into the scrub one by one, dissolving into the bush as quietly as they emerged from it. Behind them, only bone and stillness remain, one more entry in the long, unsentimental record of how this land sustains itself. Through the dense humidity of the landscape, presence materializes without announcement, deliberate, substantial, and entirely unhurried. The southern ground hornbill, the largest hornbill species in Africa, and one of the most distinctive birds on the continent. Unlike the many species that define themselves through flight, this bird moves primarily on foot, stepping across the wet ground with a measured, almost ceremonial patience, leaving dark impressions in the soft earth behind it. It is a large animal by any measure, standing up to 130 centimeters tall, with a wingspan exceeding 1.8 meters. Its plumage is a deep velvet black that absorbs the light rather than reflecting it, set against eyes of intense yellow, and the striking red throat pouch that identifies it immediately against the open savanna. The sexes can be told apart at considerable distance. Males carry a throat pouch that is entirely red. Females display a patch of blue-violet at the throat. A distinction clear enough to read from far across open ground. They live in small family groups organized around a single breeding pair, with additional members contributing actively to the raising and protection of young. Each group may patrol a territory of up to 100 square kilometers. A remarkable range for a ground-dwelling carnivorous bird. Their diet includes large insects, small reptiles, amphibians, and occasionally young rodents. The long, heavy bill serves a dual purpose, a precise tool for striking, cutting, and extracting prey concealed within dense vegetation, and when needed, an effective weapon. The southern ground hornbill does not hunt alone. When a group moves through its territory, the members spread out in a loose line, a slow, dark sweep across the landscape. Each bird working its section of ground, methodically covering the terrain with the thoroughness of animals that have learned not to miss anything. When their territory is challenged, they produce a call of extraordinary depth, low and resonant, carrying across the savanna in a way that can, at a distance, be mistaken for the rumble of a lion. It is a sound that functions as both declaration and warning. For all its physical presence, this species reproduces with a slowness that makes every individual count. Breeding occurs only once every 2 years. Of the 2 eggs typically laid, only 1 chick generally survives to adulthood. It is a reproductive rate that leaves almost no margin for sustained population loss. The ecological corridors and protected landscapes that Kaza maintains across 5 nations provide some of the last genuinely viable habitat remaining for this species, a refuge that in a world of accelerating change has become increasingly difficult to replace. From the highlands of Angola, water descends across ancient pathways and eventually reaches the Okavango Delta, and with it comes one of Africa's most singular inhabitants. The hippopotamus carries a mass that can exceed 1.5 tons, yet in water it moves with an ease that its bulk on land does not suggest. It does not swim in the conventional sense, it walks. And when occasion demands, it runs across the riverbed using short, powerful legs and a body shaped over millions of years for exactly this environment. Beneath the still surface, a hippopotamus can hold its breath for up to 5 minutes. More remarkably, it can remain asleep while doing so, its body surfacing and submerging again automatically without the animal waking. Its closest living relatives are not found on land at all. The hippopotamus shares its deepest evolutionary ancestry with whales and dolphins. the result of a divergence that occurred tens of millions of years ago. Its name, drawn from ancient Greek, translates as river horse, an image that captures something true about the authority this animal carries within any waterway it occupies. In the Okavango Delta, where seasonal flooding between June and August spreads across the low-lying terrain, hippos live in small groups and spend the majority of daylight hours submerged, regulating their body temperature in the cool water. After dark, they emerge to feed each individual, consuming around 40 kilograms of vegetation in a single night, moving through the bankside grasses with a thoroughness that leaves clear evidence of their passage. Their capacity for defense is formidable. Tusks reaching 50 centimeters in length are capable of splitting a wooden canoe or fracturing the jaw of a Nile crocodile. Despite being herbivores, hippopotamuses are widely regarded as among the most dangerous animals in Africa, fiercely territorial and capable of responding to perceived threats with extreme and sudden violence. On land, they can reach 30 kilometers per hour, fast enough to overtake a running adult human with ease. The skin of the hippopotamus produces a thick reddish-orange secretion that was long described inaccurately as blood sweat. It is, in fact, a multi-purpose biological compound that functions simultaneously as sunscreen moisturizer and insect repellent, an adaptation that allows the animal to tolerate the intense solar radiation of semi-arid regions like Botswana, where dry season temperatures regularly exceed 35 degrees Celsius. Within the Okavango Delta, the hippopotamus shapes the physical environment around it in ways that extend far beyond its own needs. Every movement through shallow water opens submerged channels that regulate water flow and prevent the unchecked accumulation of aquatic vegetation. These passages benefit fish, insects, and a wide range of water birds. The nutrients released into the water through the animal's waste redistribute across the system, sustaining a cycle of fertility that operates quietly but underpins much of what makes the flooded landscapes of Kaza so extraordinarily rich. The Barotse floodplain carries all the defining characteristics of a true source ecosystem, a system complete enough to sustain life at considerable scale. It is a vast depression that transforms with the seasons, filling with water to produce an expanse of low, dense, mineral-rich vegetation. That draws herbivores from across the surrounding landscape. The sediment layer that the floods deposit is exceptional in its nutritional content, and the grasses that grow from it reflect that richness in every leaf. It is these conditions that bring the blue wildebeest back to this place year after year to breed and raise their young. A fully grown adult can weigh up to 270 kilograms, reach nearly 2.4 meters in length, and stand over 1.4 meters at the shoulder. The coat is a dark gray with subtle blue tones that give the species its name, and both sexes carry outward curving horns. A practical defense in an environment where the pressure of predation is constant. The blue wildebeest feeds almost exclusively on short grasses, consuming between 4 and 6 kilograms per individual each day. Far from degrading the landscape they move through, this grazing pattern actively benefits it. By cropping the tips of young grasses, they prevent any single species from dominating the sward, allowing light and water to reach the soil and stimulating the growth of new shoots. In this way, the wildebeest sustains the very system it depends upon, a quiet and continuous act of ecological maintenance. When the streams begin to overflow and the surface of the plain mirrors the Zambian sky, the Leshwe move unhurried, without panic, shifting towards slightly elevated ground. Where new grass is already pushing through the waterlogged soil. There is no stampede, no jostling. But within the movement there is urgency, a discreet and essential migration timed precisely to the rhythm of the floods. The Lechwe's instinct for survival is inseparable from the specific nature of its habitat. Flooded plains, shallow marshes, and frequently inundated ground. that most other species avoid. Its body reflects this specialization. Standing close to a meter at the shoulder and weighing between 70 and 120 kilograms, it is lean but resilient. The male develops curved horns reaching up to 92 centimeters, used in defense and displayed as a marker of status during the breeding season. The adaptation that defines the lechwe most completely is found in its hooves. Long, flattened, and spread wide, they distribute the animal's weight across soft ground and prevent it from sinking. An oily coating on the skin of the lower legs repels water, maintaining speed and agility when moving through knee-deep floodwater conditions that would slow or stop most predators entirely. Lions and African wild dogs find these inundated areas a genuine obstacle. But for the eyes that watch from beneath the surface, the calculation is entirely different. Concealed within the mud and reeds, motionless and almost indistinguishable from the waterlogged ground around it, the Nile crocodile waits. It is the largest reptile in Africa and one of the most dangerous apex predators remaining in the modern world, an animal whose fundamental design has remained unchanged for tens of millions of years because it has never needed to change. As the waters begin to recede and herds of antelope, zebra, and buffalo move onto the floodplain in search of fresh grass, the crocodile enters the most productive hunting period of its year. Reaching between 3.5 and 5 meters in length and weighing up to 750 kilograms, its body is a biological mechanism built entirely around a single explosive moment. It lies beneath the surface with only its eyes and nostrils showing, tracking every movement that approaches, making calculations that require no conscious thought. Its skin, ranging from dark olive green to gray-brown, renders it effectively invisible against the characteristic mud of the Barotse inundated zones. When the distance closes to a matter of meters, the attack is instantaneous. A single violent surge and a bite generating forces exceeding 3,400 newtons per square centimeter. Up to 8 times the bite force of a great white shark ends any possibility of escape in a fraction of a second. Ambushes of this kind do not occur every day. After a substantial kill, the crocodile enters a prolonged period of digestion. Its stomach acids among the most potent of any vertebrate capable of dissolving bone almost entirely. On the Barotse floodplain, every approach to the water's edge carries a calculation that the approaching animal cannot fully make. In a landscape that presents itself as calm and open, the boundary between survival and death is measured in the space of a single lunge and the beat of a heart that may not complete its next cycle. Kaza, one of the largest and most uncompromising wildlife regions on Earth. Across a territory shared by 5 nations, nature recognizes no boundary drawn by human hands. It recognizes only the constant, unrelenting pressure to exist. Every day across the plains, the rivers and the forests, silent confrontations play out, and irreversible decisions are made. In Kaza, survival is not given, it is earned, and the currency is sacrifice. Hunger drives movement forward, fear triggers response. A single mistake is paid for immediately and in full. There is no room here for hesitation and none for mercy. Predator and prey are locked together in a cycle as old as the land itself, where strength, speed, and instinct determine who continues and who does not. And yet within all of this, a fragile balance has held for thousands of years. Every confrontation, however brutal, contributes to the equilibrium that keeps this shared ecosystem functioning. Kaza is not simply a theater of natural conflict. It is evidence that life endures precisely because it never stops fighting for itself. When the sun drops and the dust settles once more across the plain, one truth remains in this wild kingdom: surviving another day is already a victory. If this journey through one of the planet's most untamed corners has moved, you don't forget to like and subscribe to Beast Call Nature. Across the scorching vastness of the African savanna, Life endures on a delicate balance shaped by instinct, sacrifice, and fleeting chances. Here, struggles for survival are not rare events. They are part of everyday existence, and each sunrise can mark the beginning of a decisive confrontation. Amid tall grass and clouds of drifting dust, the dominant predators of this land collide in raw and unforgiving clashes. Power, tactics, and endurance are tested to their limits, with no room for hesitation. These moments are about far more than securing a meal. They are battles for control, for territory, and for authority in a world where showing weakness can mean disappearance. Such encounters unfold with explosive speed and ruthless intensity. Outcomes are never guaranteed. In a single heartbeat, the fate of even the most formidable hunters can be rewritten. On the African plains, there are no permanent rulers, only those who manage to prevail at precisely the right moment. Under the relentless sun of the savannah, a lone buffalo grazes calmly, unaware that its fate is already taking shape in the distance. Hidden within the dry amber grass, several lionesses from the pride track its every move with unwavering focus. Their bodies are still, their eyes alert, patience sharpened by experience. All attention is fixed on the target. They wait for the precise moment. The landscape seems to pause, as if the savannah itself is holding its breath. Then, with a subtle shift almost too small to notice, the signal is given. The calm shatters. The pride surges forward, turning the ground into a storm of dust, muscle, and raw power. Taking on a Cape buffalo is never a simple task. This is one of the savannah's most formidable animals, and bringing it down demands flawless coordination. Every hunter must play a role. One lioness steps forward, first Naira, a seasoned hunter known for her courage and resolve. Even so, she understands that such a challenge cannot be faced alone. She relies on Shadow, the pride's only male and a trusted partner from past hunts. But at the critical moment, Shadow hesitates. He holds back, leaving Naira exposed to the buffalo's sharp, dangerous horns. buffalo retaliates with explosive force, knocking the lioness to the ground. For a brief instant, the hunter becomes the one in danger. Naira manages to recover and retreat, escaping the immediate threat, while Shadow remains absent. Yet the buffalo's advantage is short-lived. Alone, it cannot withstand the pressure of the entire pride. As Naira regains her strength, the lions regroup and tighten their formation. This time, there is no escape. The balance shifts decisively, and the outcome is sealed in favor of the predators, another stark reminder of how quickly fortunes change on the African plains. As the sun rises higher, painting the savanna in warm shades of orange and gold, a vast dark shape begins to move across the land. It is a herd of African buffalo, true giants of the plains, advancing together like a living wall of tense muscle and sweeping horns. The largest males can reach nearly 3 meters in length, and although the females are slightly smaller, their strength and presence are just as formidable. At the heart of the herd, new life finds safety. Calves only a few months old walk on unsteady legs, sheltered within a protective ring of mothers and related females. In this constantly shifting society, authority is not enforced through sheer aggression. It is shaped by time, experience, and the changing seasons. Leadership belongs to wisdom, carried by the most seasoned female. She is the matriarch. Her horns, worn smooth by years of trials and survival, are more than weapons. They are a crown earned through endurance. Within her memory lies an invisible map, ancient riverbeds now reduced to dust, hidden water sources buried beneath the earth, known only through generations. Every step she takes is deliberate, guided by memories of droughts survived and calves lost. She is the living memory of the herd, bearing the immense responsibility of keeping them alive. Along the restless edges of the group, adult buffalo form a defensive barrier, ever alert. Yet not every danger comes from outside. Another force is quietly growing within. A challenger watches and waits. His horns are still dark and razor-sharp, untouched by the full violence of dominance battles. His gaze is not fixed on the distant horizon, but inward toward the established males. He is ambition given form, a surge of strength and restless energy poised to erupt. To him, the scars of older buffalo are not marks of honor, but signs of decline. His temperament is volatile, and encountering a lone buffalo like him is like standing before a storm ready to break. These solitary wanderers often carry bodies etched with past conflicts, splintered horns, scarred hides, and tired eyes that reveal lives forged through constant struggle. Conflicts over status can erupt without warning, shattering moments of calm into raw displays of primal force. Still, the herd keeps moving forward. The pounding of hooves, heavy breathing, and the rough scrape of bodies against one another blend into a powerful soundtrack of survival, a reminder that on the African savanna, order is maintained through strength, memory, and relentless endurance. At the very center of this world of giants, protected from both ambitious rivals and lurking predators, lies the smallest life of all. For this newborn, the surroundings are nothing more than a forest of moving legs. The scent of its mother is its only anchor, its silent guide, its single rule for survival. It does not yet rely on its own strength. It has none but on the unbreakable bond with her, and the living shield formed by the herd. It is the future made flesh, a fragile promise balanced on unsteady legs. For this calf, every sunrise reached is a triumph. As the heat intensifies, the herd begins to slow its pace. They know rest awaits beneath the spreading canopies of the acacia trees, yet vigilance never fades. Despite their social nature, buffalo live within a complex and often tense hierarchy. Suddenly, two massive bulls, each weighing close to a ton, carrying years of rivalry and unresolved dominance, face one another. There are no warning calls, no displays, only a heavy silence that signals what is about to unfold. In an instant, it seems as if the ground itself splits apart. The great horns collide with a thunderous crack that echoes across the plain. The thick bone shield where the horns meet on the forehead absorbs the crushing blows, protecting the skull beneath. These clashes are rarely fatal, but they are decisive. The victor secures his status. The defeated turns away without protest. It is an unwritten rule of the savannah, ensuring that only the strongest maintain order and pass on their lineage. Meanwhile, the rest of the herd remains largely unmoved. Bold oxpeckers perch calmly on the buffalo's backs, picking away parasites in a quiet partnership where both sides benefit, completely indifferent to the drama unfolding just a few steps away. As the afternoon wears on, the rising heat pushes the herd to move once again. Their formation is a true lesson in strategy and survival. They advance as a long, compact column, with the calves safely enclosed at the center, while fully grown buffalo form a living shield along the flanks. For African buffalo, water represents both life and constant danger. Many rivers are claimed by Nile crocodiles, silent predators that rule the muddy depths. When the herd reaches the riverbank, the most seasoned individuals step forward first. They test the air, study the surface, and watch closely for the slightest ripple. Yet caution is not always enough. From the still, murky water, an ancient reptile can erupt in a sudden burst of violence. Powerful jaws snap shut, targeting the most vulnerable. But the herd does not scatter in panic. Instead, it turns as one. A wall of horns and muscle surges toward the attacker, a unified force driven by a single purpose: to defend their own. This fierce loyalty is one of the buffalo's greatest strengths. Unlike many animals, they rarely abandon a member of the group. When one is threatened, the instinct is not to flee, but to confront. It is this very trait that makes even lions hesitate before launching an attack. Still, during the harsh marches of the dry season, not all can keep pace. The old, the wounded, and the weakened may fall behind. At times, the survival of the herd must outweigh any individual bond. A new day rises over the dense forest as the first rays of sunlight cut through the mist drifting above the swamp. Beneath the tangled canopy, crocodiles glide soundlessly, their eyes just breaking the surface as they wait, unseen and patient. Suddenly, one of them shifts its attention. With slow, deliberate movements, it swims toward a group of unsuspecting hippos. Its focus is a calf that has strayed slightly from the others, unaware of the danger drawing closer. using shadows and murky water as cover. The ancient predator advances with calm precision. Then the surface erupts. In a split second, powerful jaws surge upward and seize the young hippo. The calf struggles in panic, calling out as it fights against a force far stronger than itself. Other crocodiles converge, drawn by the disturbance, and the water churns briefly before growing still again. From a distance, the mother watches. In an instant, she understands what has happened. Her posture stiffens, then slowly softens. She turns away from the now quiet water and moves off in silence. There is no battle, only acceptance. The forest seems to breathe heavily, as if bearing witness to the moment. One life ends, and another continues. The delicate rhythm of nature moves on without pause. Later that same day, the hippo walks slowly along the winding riverbank. Ahead, a small group of lions rests near the water's edge, drinking calmly beneath the midday sun. The memory of the lost calf ignites something deep and uncontrollable. Driven by grief and raw anger, the hippo turns toward them. Without warning, it charges, transformed into a surge of sorrow and fury. The lions scatter in confusion. One slips in the mud as the others leap back in surprise. The hippo attacks again, jaws wide, rushing past one of the felines at a dangerously close distance. A living force of pain unleashed against the world. Sensing the danger, the lions slowly retreat toward the tree line, keeping a careful distance. The hippo remains alone at the water's edge, her chest heaving as she stares into the river in silence. From deep within her throat rises a low, rumbling sound that echoes across the valley, an expression of pain rather than a threat. The entire landscape seems to pause. Even the lions watch without a sound, unsettled by the raw intensity of the moment. Gradually, the hippo turns back to the river. Her movements are heavy, weighed down by grief. She slips into the water until only her head remains above the surface, almost motionless, breathing slowly. Not all wounds can be seen, and even in the wild, love and loss leave lasting marks. As darkness spreads across the savannah, a lone hippo leaves the river in search of fresh grass. Nearby, hidden within tall vegetation, a pride of lions fixes their glowing eyes on her. She graces calmly, unaware that she is being watched by the most skilled hunters of this land. One lion creeps forward, the others following in silence, ready to launch a coordinated ambush. Surrounded and outnumbered, the hippo is eventually overwhelmed by the combined force of the pride. The lions feed until they are satisfied, then retreat into the bushes, heavy and drowsy, leaving behind a partially eaten body. Above them, vultures begin to circle. One by one, they descend to claim what remains, ensuring nothing is wasted. What do you think about the emotions and choices of the hippo mother after losing her calf? Share your thoughts in the comments and join the discussion. The white rhinoceros ranks among the largest land mammals still walking the earth, second only to the elephant. Its sheer size is striking. Adults can weigh well over 2 tons, stretch nearly 4 meters in length, and stand more than 1.8 meters tall at the shoulder. Its thick, armor-like skin up to 5 centimeters deep has a grayish tone. Despite the name, white does not refer to color. It comes from the Old Dutch word wide, a nod to its broad, flat mouth perfectly adapted for grazing. Two horns made of keratin rise from its snout. The front horn typically measures between 60 and 90 centimeters, though in rare cases it can exceed 1.5 meters. These horns are vital tools for defense and for clashes between males. Its long ears rotate almost independently, constantly scanning for sound, while small, side-set eyes provide a wide field of vision, an essential advantage in landscapes where danger can emerge from any direction. The white rhino is a highly specialized herbivore, capable of consuming 40 to 60 kilograms of grass each day. Using its wide lips and powerful neck muscles, it clips grass close to the ground without uprooting it. This sets it apart from the black rhinoceros, which relies on pointed, prehensile lips to browse leaves and shrubs. Open savannas with short grasses, shallow wetlands, and scattered bushes are its preferred habitat. Its range stretches from southern Africa to Kenya, with strong populations in reserves such as Hluliwe Imfolozi, Kruger, and Mkuze. Water is essential to its survival. It must drink daily and often coats itself in mud to cool down, repel insects, and shield its skin from the sun. Reproduction is slow and demanding. After a gestation period of about 16 months, a single calf is born, weighing roughly 50 kilograms. The young rhino nurses for over a year and stays close to its mother throughout its early life. During this time, the female becomes fiercely protective. Though generally calm by nature, a mother defending her calf can charge at speeds of 40 to 45 kilometers per hour. Equipped with a sense of smell estimated to be up to 50 times stronger than that of humans, the white rhino can detect threats such as lions or hyenas from great distances. danger is sensed, there are no warning calls. The head drops, the horn lines up, and the animal charges with astonishing force. A single impact can deliver more than 10,000 newtons of power, enough to knock even a large predator off its feet. The mother remains constantly alert. A pair of lions usually poses little threat, but a full pride is another matter entirely. What stands out most is the behavior of the calf. Rather than panicking, it shows remarkable resolve. A newborn white rhino can weigh up to 65 kilograms, and unlike many young herbivores that instinctively flee or hide, it stands its ground. When a group of lions surrounds the mother and calf while they graze, the young rhino does not retreat. It stays close to its mother, staring directly at the predators. When a lioness lunges and sinks her claws into its shoulder, the calf releases a powerful bellow that echoes across the savanna. This sound is more than a cry of pain. It is an instinctive signal that instantly triggers the mother's defensive response. She does not attack blindly. Instead, she pivots her body, facing the threat head-on with her horn aimed precisely at the attacker. Even if she appears exhausted, her purpose is absolute: protect her calf at all costs. The message is unmistakable. The lioness releases her grip. Despite bleeding, the calf continues forward, falling slightly behind. It turns and makes a short, deliberate charge with its still-growing horn toward anything that comes too close. This is not a random reaction, but learned behavior passed from mother to offspring as part of a powerful survival instinct. Before long, the lions, weary and frustrated, abandon the attempt and fade back into the grass, leaving the rhino family standing firm in the open savanna. A calm sunrise settles over the savannah. A mother rhinoceros and her calf graze peacefully, unaware of the threat drawing closer. In the distance, the outline of a lone male comes into view, moving forward with steady confidence. His posture leaves no doubt this is a territorial challenge. The mother lifts her head and faces the intruder. Both giants stop. For a brief moment, time seems to pause as they study one another, weighing strength and resolve. Then, without warning, they charge. Hooves pound the ground, massive heads drop, and horns line up for a violent collision. The calf quickly moves aside. The mother bellows and pushes forward without hesitation, fully committed to driving the stranger away. The male attempts to circle, aiming for her flank, but she blocks his path and answers with a crushing shove. The clash intensifies, horns scrape, muscles strain, and the earth trembles beneath their immense weight. In the chaos of the struggle, the mother spots an opening. With relentless determination, she rams into the male's rear flank. He stumbles back, breathing hard, clearly shaken. He turns again, searching for a weakness but finds none. In a final charge, the mother delivers a decisive blow that forces the intruder to retreat, limping away from the fight. The confrontation is over. The male accepts defeat and slowly withdraws, leaving the territory behind. The mother returns to her calf, standing firm as the unquestioned guardian of the land. Beneath the shade of a towering tree, a pride of lions lies stretched across the cool earth, resting after a long and demanding night. distance, a lone giraffe stands out against the horizon, separated from its herd. It moves carefully toward a water source. Reaching the edge, the giraffe lowers its long neck and awkwardly spreads its legs to drink from the shimmering surface. Unseen, the lions begin to move through the grass. Their approach is almost silent, padded paws barely disturbing the ground as they close in. The dominant male senses the perfect moment. Without warning, he bursts forward in a sudden, explosive charge. The giraffe remains unaware, focused on drinking, its back exposed. Then instinct takes over, and unstartled, it jerks upright, struggles to regain balance, and twists sharply in an attempt to flee. It runs with long, uneven strides, kicking backward in defense as powerful shapes surge behind it. One lion leaps and manages to grab hold of its hindquarters, but a violent shake sends him crashing back to the ground. Still, the giraffe pushes forward, yet its pace begins to slow. Muscles quiver, breathing grows heavy, and exhaustion starts to take its toll. Working together with precision and strength, the lions finally bring the giraffe down. The struggle ends under the relentless rules of the wild. The landscape falls quiet. For a brief moment, the lions pause, then begin to feed, their long hunger finally satisfied. Above them, vultures circle patiently, aware that the end of one life signals opportunity for others. It is a harsh but unchanging truth. In the natural world, survival is never granted, it is earned, and mercy is a rare luxury. And so come to an end the fiercest confrontations of the African savanna, a stage where even the most powerful predators must contend with forces as unforgiving as hunger, territory, and time itself. These monumental clashes, filled with tension and raw intensity, are not acts of cruelty, but pure expressions of natural laws that have shaped this land for millions of years. Every struggle, no matter how violent it appears, plays a vital role in maintaining the fragile balance of the wild. In this uncompromising world, no dominance lasts forever. Even the most feared animals face defeat, and victory is always temporary. The savanna teaches a harsh yet honest lesson. Survival is not about ruling endlessly, but about adapting, enduring, and seizing the right moment. Predator and prey alike are woven into an invisible network that keeps this extraordinary ecosystem alive. Yet today, this ancient balance faces a threat that does not come from nature. Human pressure, habitat loss, and the fragmentation of wild territories endanger a system that has existed in harmony for countless generations. Protecting African wildlife is more than conservation. It is an ethical responsibility to the planet's history and to those who will inherit its future. By understanding these struggles, we learn that the story is not about choosing winners or losers, but about respecting the natural order and ensuring that these lives continue to unfold freely. Every species, even the most powerful, depends on the presence of others for the savanna to keep breathing. In the quiet that follows the last roar, as the dust slowly settles, the savanna reminds us of a simple truth: every struggle has meaning, and every life deserves a future.